Nick Wright, first things first, co-host. He was there for the game last night. Bucks Nets Game 5 at Barclays as the series now shifts to Milwaukee for Game 6. And I have no idea what to expect from the Bucks. Well, both teams going into Game 6, but let's reflect on Game 5. Do you want to start with the obvious with Kevin Durant, or do you want to start with the Milwaukee Bucks game plan, Nick?
Let's start with the good. Let's start with the obvious and Kevin Durant. And do me a favor, Dan, at the end of this, leave 30 seconds because I have a question for you at the very, very end. But
Okay.
We'll start with Durant. It's not only unquestionably the finest game of his career, and I don't know what the most impressive part is. I think it's the 48 minutes. Playing 48 out of 48, the only guy in this era that we've been able to rely on doing that is LeBron, and his body is just historically built differently. Like, I didn't think Durant could do that. He did it without ever resting at any moment. And when you look at the greatest wings of all time, Dan, LeBron, Michael, Kobe, and Bird, I am hard-pressed to find a playoff game that Bird or Kobe had that tops this one. Bird had 37, 9, and 9 in a Game 7 to beat the Pistons in 87. He had an unbelievable Game 7 against the Knicks. Kobe had a 50-point game in a loss when he was undermanned the way Durant is to the Suns that year in 06 when they lost in 7. This is one of the finest playoff games a wing has played in NBA history. And it's the greatest game I've ever been in person for. And I don't think any of that is prisoner of the moment stuff. You obviously watched Bird live. I can't think of a time he was better than this.
Well, and I know you're talking about wing players because I think what Magic did in the NBA Finals his rookie year when he played center.
Absolutely.
I could make a case for Clyde Frazier Game 7 NBA Finals against the Lakers when he went 36 and 19 assists.
17 or something.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but what we saw with that team with no supporting cast around him, and it's one of those that this is why I thought Steph Curry was the MVP this year. Everybody in the building knew that Steph was going to shoot, but he still led the league in scoring, and he was wonderful this year. Everybody in the building last night knew Kevin Durant was the option for this team, and somehow, some way, the Milwaukee Bucks thought, let's just put one player on him.
Let's stay on that for a second because before we get to the Bucks, ridiculous game plan on both sides of the ball, just infuriating. What you touched on there, it's in an odd way, Durant's brilliance last night is why fans were so mad at him for Golden State and then got mad at him all over again when they got Harden. Because what is your favorite Steph Curry season? Maybe this one. What are some of your favorite LeBron James moments in series? The 2015 finals when he was absolutely outgunned. Maybe the greatest LeBron game ever. Game 1 of the 2018 finals where you want to watch John McClane in Die Hard against 12 terrorists. You don't want to watch 3 John McClanes against 2 terrorists. And so there is a part as a sports fan where you almost you don't need to see it all the time, but you want to see the best in the world when the odds are totally stacked against them. And for Durant, aside from one playoff series against the Grizzlies after Russ got his knee torn up by Patrick Beverley, he's always had an MVP alongside him in every playoff series he's played in. One with Golden State, Steph wasn't there, but Clay was. And so we never got to see this from Durant. I think people wanted to see it, even if that's unfair to him. Like, does that make sense? Like, This is what we wanted to see, even if it's not sustainable for a career. You wanted to see it for maybe a season like we got to see from Steph this year.
Yeah, I agree. It's a great point. We're talking to Nick Wright, First Things First co-host on Fox Sports 1. I yelled at the TV last night, Nick. It's been a while since I've yelled at the TV, and I'm by myself. And I'm just wondering that at some point, does somebody on Milwaukee's bench tell Mike Budenholzer, how about we run another guy at Durant? How about we have him pick up his dribble? How about we double team him? If Danny Green's going to beat us, great. Harden's not going to beat us. Let's I like our chances over here than I do with this. But you have one guy on him. You let him go right. You let him do what he wants to do. He was incredible. But I got to get the ball out of the best player's hands, Nick.
It was offensive coaching. You'd have done better. Whoopi Goldberg, just from filming Eddie, would have done better. Your older listeners will like that. The drunk teenager, and I know teenagers aren't supposed to drink, but I'm pretty sure he's a teenager and I'm pretty sure he was drunk, sitting behind me in the stands would have done better. Listen, a couple things. One is, our statistician, a guy named Dustin Wade, I want to give him credit. He tracked the game by hand at 3 this morning, so I could have this info and now I'll share it with your audience. Kevin Durant was double-teamed, true double-teamed, 0 times all game. They sent a second guy at Durant so little, he took 0 jump shots with a help defender on him. Every time they sent a help defender on him, he made the pass. And they defended it as if Kyrie were out there and Harden was full strength, and it's like, we can't double him. Yes, you can. You can double him. And if Jeff Green goes for 47 instead of 27, then you lose. But I don't even think that was the worst coaching job. James Harden, what's the old line, Dan? A one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest? James Harden was a one-legged man in Game 5 of playoffs. They didn't make him defend anybody.
I know.
How do you not just say, hey, he can't move at all? Like, obviously, he's not a great defender when he's healthy. I thought in the first half, honestly, and this is me giving the Bucks coaching staff too much credit, I thought they knew that if they went at Harden, that Nash would take Harden out. And they were having such an easy way of it that they were like, we don't want Harden out. We know we can go to that if we need to. But they never went to it. That is the type of franchise-changing loss. You're up 17 with 7 minutes left in the third quarter, and the other team's got one guy. And you just let him shoot flames out his eyeballs and burn your house down. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And I know that if you look at the stat line, Greek Freak had a great night, but it's not how much you have, it's when you get that total. And he shot a fadeaway with James Harden on him. They didn't even double him. Harden said, I don't need a double, waved it away. And, then he fumbles the ball with a turnover. He misses a free throw. Like, these are small things, and I know I'm nitpicking, but you nitpick with great players in these moments where you want them to be able to show you why they're better than everybody else. This is a 2-time MVP, and he shied away from going to the hoop because I think he was worried about shooting free throws.
Okay, you nailed that. A 2-time MVP and 1-time Defensive Player of the Year, and he guarded Durant on 2 shots last night. That ain't great. And Chuck said it. Your friend Charles Barkley, my friend Charles Barkley, said it after the game. And I think he's right, that the fadeaway, I think, is because he doesn't want to shoot free throws. And the fumble on what should have been an easy dunk, Charles said, and I'll take his word for it because he's been in this situation, not afraid of the shooting free throws, but in this situation in the game, that he said he rushed it because he was trying to go up too fast because he was afraid of getting hit. Yeah. That's not tenable. And Giannis, I almost feel like at times the way we talk about Giannis, the way we talk about some of these superstars can be toxic. I get it, and I feed into that sometimes. And for example, I see that Kawhi Leonard has like a real lower body, medical issue. I feel badly about some of my commentary from last year. But the other extreme of that is I think we're almost patronizing with some of our commentary to Giannis because everybody loves him. He's so likable. He's loyal. He almost seems childlike, at times. And so we don't hold him nearly to the standard we hold anyone else in the league that has half of his accomplishments, which is you got to be better. You got to find a way to hold on to the lead and hold on to the ball. And he couldn't do either last night. And now the entire Bucks franchise is on the brink, not just the season.
It's been a busy day this morning. You got Stan Van Gundy's out. Scott Brooks is now out with the Wizards. And you got Kawhi out Game 5 tonight. And Chris Paul is in COVID protocol. I mean, this is I've said this the last couple of days. The healthiest team is going to win the NBA championship, it feels like. It just all of the injuries, we're going to look back on these playoffs, and it'll be the year of the injury.
Yeah, what's amazing? I agree with you as far as the overall point, but you know what the healthiest team is? Milwaukee, and they're blowing it.
I know.
Like, they are actually the healthiest team, and they are blowing it. But, yeah, I mean, you've got – if Chris Paul misses a game, you're going to have 9 guys who made the All-Star game this year miss a playoff game. Think about that. 9 guys. Yeah. And then a 10th in LeBron, who was clearly not 100%. And speaking of the injuries thing, are you nervous for KD? I am. Nash. Yeah, I don't think Nash has done a great job. I know I'm in the minority on that. I didn't understand how Harden can go from out to doubtful to questionable to 46 and a half minutes.
I had a big problem with that, Nick. That like I worry more about Harden going 46 than I do Durant going 48, which sounds crazy considering what Durant's coming off of. But 46 for Harden, that's a whole lot of minutes.
It's a whole lot of minutes. And we talked about it on TV this morning, and my co-host Brandon Marshall said, listen, sometimes it's not the coach's choice. If a guy is, Harden's stature says, I'm going to play, he's going to play. And I buy that to a degree. But it is certainly the coach's choice how much he plays. Yeah. And I'm guessing when James Harden's like, Coach, I'm going to give it a go, he didn't think that meant he was going to sit for 94 seconds. Now I understand I don't want to play Mike James either if I'm Steve Nash. I think their best point guard option is Steve Nash. And you might say, well, Nick, then the Bucks would just, torture Nash on defense. No, they wouldn't. They didn't torture Harden on defense. Nash could have suited it up, stood in the corner too. Maybe knocked down some threes. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Can I ask you my question?
Yes, you can.
Assuming it happens, do you want to go to Game 7? Let's do it, Dan. Come on. You and I have never hung out. You can't be that far of a drive. I don't get any comp tickets like you. I'm not fancy. I don't sit in press area. I sit amongst the people. Good, not amazing seats. Now, if you want to go and you want to pay for them, we can upgrade them. That's fine. But otherwise, let's go to a Game 7, man. Come on, make the drive. Do it, Dan. You don't have to commit right now, but promise me you'll think about it. Saturday night, my family's out of town. I'm all alone. I took my wife and daughters to the game yesterday. They all leave me tomorrow. I'm going to be sad by myself unless you come. Let's go. Let's do it, Dan.
Wait, so Game 7 is?
If it exists, it's Saturday night.
I am visiting my son and his wife.
Oh, my God. I don't even know that you have a son.
I do. I do. I have one, and he's in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm going to go visit him.
Wow. Right now, Fritzy, booking your plane ticket just so the alibi checks out.
No.
Wow, you'd rather go visit.
Yes, and it's worth buying a fake ticket than to go, I think, with you to the game. Because if you had better seats, then you know what? How about McLovin? McLovin lives in Brooklyn. Yeah. He lives right by Barclays.
10-minute train ride. Where, I'd like to sit up closer, but I could settle.
Oh, well, listen, I don't buy terrible seats. I was like 12th row behind the Nets bench last night. What I'm saying is I feel like, Dan Patrick's motto has been, if your feet ain't on the wood, it's no good. And I don't got Dan Patrick money. I got Nick Wright money.
Okay, but are you just saying you don't want to have McLovin go with you? Just say that, Nick.
What I'm saying is I'm visiting my son in Charleston, South Carolina, McLovin. I'm sorry. Otherwise,
okay.
we'd be
all right.
in there.
And that is fair. It's a great excuse. I'm going to use that one day.
You should.
I'll take your ticket. God. If you're going to be in Charleston with Dan.
You know what, Nick? The next round, then we'll go to a Brooklyn game. How about that?
Oh, okay. Locked. If they make it, but let me. Do you think they can win a game without Durant doing this? Like, that's the other thing. Is like, does Durant have to do this again?
I think he's going to have to. He's going to have to come close to it. Now, Harden can't be as bad as he was, but then Danny Green is probably not going to knock down. Jeff. Same thing. He's not going to be shooting the way he did. Probably. Maybe Joe Harris comes alive. Pick up the white courtesy phone.
Do you think when Joe Harris goes in the locker room and he takes off his jersey, he's actually Kyle Korver? And it's like, hey, look, the greatest three-point shooter in NBA history until the playoffs start. And then it's tied to the backboard.
Wow.
Like, was that unfair?
Yeah, might have been.
Am I still bitter that Korver cost LeBron that game 3 against Durant in 2017? Maybe. A little bitter.
I'll see you in Charleston this weekend.
Absolutely. Our sons, we're all going to force them playing golf. It'll be great.
That's Nick Wright. First things first, co-host Fox Sports 1.